Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. In this video, I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing the DBX-07. This is a 1/7 scale desert racer. It runs on 6S, two 3S batteries, which are included. It's capable of running on 8S. It's ready to run, just needs to be unboxed. I'm sure there's a little bit of basic setup to do, and of course charging of batteries. And I'm going to be doing a full series on this. I'm going to be going over the entire vehicle, and I'm going to be doing multiple run videos with it. Just as comparison, if you've seen my videos on the DBX-10, this is going to be very similar to that vehicle. This is what followed, and I could go over all kinds of specs, but let's just open the box and start getting into what's in it. Okay, before I open the box, I'm going to give you a few specs. It comes with a 2.4 gigahertz 4-channel radio, 4 AA batteries not included. The motor is a beefy 4282 brushless, and it is 2000 kV. The ESC is 150 amp, and it is 6S to 8S capable. For batteries, it includes two 5000 milliamp 3S lipo batteries, and those are supposed to give us a run time of about 20 minutes. It's supposed to give us a top speed of 80 kilometers per hour, or about 50 miles an hour. Chassis is aluminum. The servo has 25 kilograms of torque. Shock absorbers are all metal, oil filled. The wheels are 6.5 inches in diameter, about 2.5 inches wide, or 165 millimeters by 63 millimeters. It includes what seems to be a fairly fast charger. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 battery capable. It's a balanced charger with adapter, charging time of 2 hours. So that's not a trickle charger you just plug in the wall, and it's supposed to also be US or European plug capable. So let's get a look in here. There's a seal over here. Sorry about the camera there. It is a very large box, and as I suspected, the wheels are off it. I didn't think this thing was going to fit in here with the wheels on. So we've got a whole bunch of screws here, most likely for our bead locks. And I don't know if these are true bead locks or if they are more of a decorative thing. We'll find out. Here's our instruction pack. By the way, I purchased this from makerfire.com, same vendor that I got the DBX-10 from. Definitely happy with them. They seem to have very fast shipping, so they're one of the many reasons I've been shopping with them. Here's our radio. And we have several switches, reverse switching, and several different adjustments. We'll go over those later. We have channel 4 over here and channel 3 down there. It feels pretty decent. It's got a nice base to it. When it has batteries in it, it should stand nicely. Looks like there's a plug-in port here, and we've got a mini USB over here. Don't know what those are for, but we'll go into those down the road. We have a wheel wrench and some nice anodized aluminum wheel lugs. Looks like we got a little wheelie bar here and some large battery straps. some two-sided tape. Looks like we've got some servo adapters. I would assume these are for the servo arms, so if we decide to replace the servo, we can use the existing servo horn that comes on the car if we have a different spline count. We got some big zip ties, got some more two-sided tape, got a pack of some very small screws. Those look like M1.5s. We have a little wheelie bar and some attachment screws for that. Some exploded drawings. And replacement parts lists. We have a center differential, which is geared and looks like it has seals. I believe it's also metal housing. And we have front and rear gear diffs as well. That's very nice. More wheels and tires. These are some big chunky tires. I wanted something large and fun to be able to just run around in the parking lot or out behind the building. Something that'd be fun when we get a few inches of snow on the ground or more. And these definitely look like they're going to be fun for those kind of environments. Looks like the tires are permanently glued on. They do have some vent holes. So I think the screws that are going to go on here are purely decorative. And I would assume that these tires are available. The DBX-10, the wheels and tires became available very quickly after the car came out. So if you need to replace them for whatever reason, you can do so. Here we have our charger. It does have 2 ports on it. I'm mainly going to be using a proper balance charger. No, this is going to be a single battery, one at a time. So that would be one of my recommendations as a first purchase, would be to go on to Maker Fire or the vendor of your choice and get yourself a decent battery charger if you do not have one already. I did a fairly thorough video on the dangers of lipos. They certainly can cause great financial damage. If you don't believe me, check out the link here. It'll also be in the description below. And you'll see just what lipos can do to an expensive house. This looks almost identical to the DBX-10 with the exception of it being considerably larger. I decided to go with the blue. It comes with 2 different, there's 2 different color schemes available. That thing's heavy. Go ahead and get this box out of the way. All right. So let's have a look under the hood. So just like the DBX-10, 2 pins, flips right up. We have our splitter here, on-off switch. It's very nice that they mounted that there for us. This is a very clean install here. Everything is just right. You know, this is like kind of the way I would set up one of my cars. You know, everything's got, you know, everything is strapped down. Wires are all tied nice. Our brushless motor here is gigantic. Look at that thing. That's the motor from there to there. And they even gave us a nice little cooler here with a pair of fans. That's an aluminum heat sink. That just snaps on. We've got 2 servos, one for steering, and we have a brake system here. I don't think there's a shifting system. I'm not sure if this has an actual transmission or if it's just a single gear to the motor drive, but we'll get into that. But it's got a disc brake setup. I think the reason that there's 2 actuators here, one above, one below, is because there's a disc brake on either side of our differential here. Let me try to bring the camera in. I'm gonna have to pause the video for a moment. Okay, so if we look in here, right here is 1 disc brake on that out drive, and right in here we have the other brake. And so since that's actually kind of necessary that you've got a differential here, so you would need to have a separate brake at either side of it. One of the interesting things that that's going to give us as far as tuning is the ability to adjust here how much braking power goes to the front 2 wheels, because it's stopping the front drive shaft versus the rear drive shaft. So that's going to be something definitely to play with. We've got a box here for our receiver, so this is fairly reasonably waterproof. I'm doubting it's completely waterproof, but they didn't specify anything about the servos being waterproof. But we've got a big mounting system here. Looks fairly solid. And looks like we've got an adjustable servo saver here. This red adjuster ring here can be turned to tighten down on that spring. We have front and rear sway bars, just like we had on the DBX-10. I'll get you specs on these springs and shocks. They're definitely bigger than the ones that came on the DBX-10 by a good bit. We've got adjustable turnbuckles for our camber links and for our steering. And we have a adjustment up here for our front camber, so our suspension is adjustable. Looks like we've got some pills up in front. I don't know if we're going to have any adjustment on the arms. They've actually got a nice setup here for the sway bars. if you notice, there's a like a ball link at the end of this connecting rod here, and there's a cap plate that anchors down with 2 screws. We've got the same setup here at the rear. We've got some nice thick aluminum shock towers, front and rear. Those look to be at least 4mm aluminum with black anodizing. We got some very large plastic C-hubs here. These pieces may come in aluminum at some point. If they do, I'll probably get a set. But they do have protection up here. This prevents rocks and such from getting into our U-joints or our CV joints. I'm not sure which they have up there, but I'll be doing some taking apart on this, and we'll get into all those goodies later. As you can see, we've got our dual battery packs, and they've got bracing front and rear, and if you see here, there's more space than the battery itself. Also, there's a little bit of left to right room, so we could put considerably larger batteries. Even if we stayed with 3S batteries, we could probably go to hard pack batteries or hard case batteries right away and swap those out for probably 6,000, maybe 8,000 milliamp hour or in those ranges, because we've got room for a longer, wider, and of course taller battery. So 8S is definitely an option, and 8S would make this thing just crazy fast. If it already goes 50 miles an hour with the stock 3S batteries, 8S should be really crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the battery, I'm going to go ahead and put the camera back up on the arm here, and I'm going to put some wheels and tires on here, and let's get this thing going. So I went ahead and threw the wheels and tires on here, and as you can see, this is a big truck. I'm going to do some side-by-side photos for you with the DBX-10 for comparison, and I think you're going to be really surprised. For the money, I think this is a really nice deal. Most vehicles that are in this size range, if you want a really big truck to have some fun with, they're going to cost you a lot more, upwards of $1,000. They're not going to come with a pair of batteries. A lot of things they're not going to come with. From everything I've seen so far, this is looking really nice. One of the things that I did right off the bat was I put on the little decorative screws that go on our wheels. And it's not a hard process. It is a long process. If you drop and lose 1 or 2 of these screws, do not worry. Mine came with 7. I did drop and lose 1 myself. It disappeared into the carpet somewhere, and I'll probably find it. But it wasn't something I had to have because they give you extras. Now there's this other set that I still haven't identified what they are for yet. They are smaller than the ones for the rims, but we'll see. I also have not seen anywhere that the 2-sided tape is required, at least not yet. And now these extra battery straps were easy enough to figure out, and what these are for is for our batteries. There is a notch on the underside of the forward and rearward battery brackets. So you have the option of strapping your batteries down like this, or across the top, or both. So that's why you have these, and it'll depend on the batteries you're using and how you want to do it. Now, just like with the DBX-10, before I drive this, I'm going to take it almost completely apart. I'm going to examine the shock absorbers. I'm probably going to put in some different shock oil. mainly because they don't tell us what's in there. And I want to know so that if I feel that I need a thicker or a lighter shock oil in either the front or the rear shocks, I'm going to know where I'm starting from. Likewise, I'm also going to rebuild both differentials and the center diff. So I have the same option. I have a starting point, and then I have somewhere to move from either up or down in thickness and viscosity. I also want to see how well things are put together. If you've watched some of my videos on the WL toy cars and on the DBX-10, you've seen that some things weren't assembled well, and that's not unreasonable considering the price point these vehicles come at. It's very hard to get these things put together by people who actually know anything about RC cars. Most of the people who are doing these assemblies have never seen one, never driven one. They're just going through a series of steps repetitively. I am probably going to get rid of these little reservoirs here because they are fake reservoirs. It's just a piece of rubber hose on a little fitting and some plastic. They don't really serve a purpose other than to, in my opinion, get in the way of the body closing properly, especially the front ones. They're almost completely hidden by the body because of where they're located. Once the body closes, you can't see the hoses. You can only see a little bit of the reservoir. So I'm just going to pull those. Likewise with the two rear ones. It has some very large headlights, and it looks like the rings are lit as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works. I'm sure it's going to be attached to one of the switches on the radio. We have a very large light bar that goes all the way across the front, a big LED light bar, and one across the back. If this is follows the DBX-10, then that one on the rear is going to be red. And of course the front one is, clear white light. Do you find these videos to be helpful, useful to you? Then please help me keep this channel going by donating. Click the link up here and you can donate safely through PayPal on either a one-time or a monthly basis, your choice. The wrench that comes with it is adjustable. There's a hex head grub screw right there. And there's a flat spot here, so if you want to change the location of this torque rod here, you're going to need to unscrew it enough to be able to move it past this this notch, which is where it comes stock. So in other words, it's only sticks out a little bit at this end and sticks out to about here. I prefer to be able to grab the wrench like this so I can get the full hand torque on it, as opposed to having to pry from one side. I find that can make the wrench torque a little bit. So I prefer to have this type of a setup. That's just me. You can do as you please. All you got to do is loosen the grub screw and you can adjust this rod to be wherever you want it. Everything as far as the wheels goes nice and easy together, but again, putting in all of those screws is very time consuming and you are going to tire out your hand. Do not use a large powered screwdriver. I happen to have one of these. This is a micro screwdriver. I'm probably going to be doing a video on this. Not overly expensive. I mean, it is a bit expensive for such a simple tool, but it has two torque settings, USB chargeable, and multi-directional, plus it comes with a bunch of tools, and it made putting these screws in so much easier. I did the first half a wheel with a regular screwdriver or nut driver and realized that I was just going to wear my wrist out, and I went ahead and pulled this out and it made short work of it. But a regular driver, these rims are very soft plastic and you will strip them out with a regular powered driver, so I don't recommend doing that. Also, don't try to make them tight. They are, as I said, it's very soft plastic and you can over twist them. In other words, you'll end up stripping it out. Just turn, because they're decorative. They don't serve any mechanical purpose. So just tighten them down until they are, you know, flush to the plastic, and you're done. It's easy. Don't make it more than it is. Let's see, anything else I want to cover right at this moment? It's a nice detailed body. We've got a pair of drivers. We've got some nice soft rubber window nets here. A lot of room in here, plenty of space to put a camera in if you want. This would probably make a good FPV vehicle. We've got some really big aluminum braces. I suspect these are hollow tubes, and they brace at the partially to the rear about a third of the distance, and this prevents these from bowing. So this is going to keep the frame from flexing unnecessarily. Everything looks to be very nicely done. The front bumper here is very strong plastic. It's not a soft, wishy-washy plastic. The front and rear A-arms are very solid. We've got these nice beefy arms up here. Everything seems to be on the high end of quality, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I can't wait to disassemble this and see what's going on. I'll let you know whether or not you should do a rebuild of things before you go run it. I'll explain this brake servo here and how that actuates it, whether or not it's part of the normal steering system and how that functions. So all of that will get covered. I'm going to start by taking the shocks off, and basically I'm just going to strip the car down. I put on the wheels just to kind of show you the physical size of this vehicle. By comparison, here's a 1/10 scale all-wheel drive car. Huge difference. And again, I will show this next to the DBX-10, because that's also going to be quite impressive. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Having this rear wheel back here might be superfluous, but at the same time it might provide a good bumper, you know, when this thing starts going end over end off of some jump that doesn't go as planned. We'll see. Having that extra weight rearward may also help it jump a little better. I would just kind of go over the stickers, you know, make sure that there's no air bubbles, you know, make sure they're burnished down. Other than that, everything looks good. The rear body's going to come off just like the DBX-10, a pair of screws here at the rear, and then disconnect the these hoses and disconnect the wiring harness right here, and then the whole body can just come right off of the car. So I'm going to take the wheels off and get started on that process. So to be able to make improvements in handling and tuning adjustments, you need a setup sheet so you know where the vehicle is, and that way when you make a change, you can record that change, you know, where you came from, where you're going to, and that will help you sort things out. Now, there is no setup sheet available from ZD Racing for this vehicle, or as far as I know, any of their vehicles. I went ahead and made my own. Basically, it just lists the all the adjustments that are available for this car. There are some kind of unusual ones that are specific to this vehicle, like servo saver preload in millimeters. That's going to be the distance from the bottom of this orange plate to the top of the red ring, and this can be adjusted like a shock absorber preload, and that will tension the servo saver. I put in steering servo make and model in the event that an upgrade is done, and swapping out the servo, motor, ESC, Actually, I don't have the ESC on here. I'll have to add that. Shock absorbers, differentials, front, rear, center. The ring and pinion gear for the differentials are there. The front diff, the numbers are down here in motor drivetrain. Weight bias, accessories like whether or not you're running the spare tire or the wheelie bar, just things to kind of keep track, and of course all of the usual tuning settings for suspension like camber, droop, ride height, toe, bump steer spacers, the Ackerman locations. There's 2 available on the car. Shock positioning, we've got 2 holes at the top, 2 holes on the swing arm, and so where you've got yours mounted. So I will try, once I've finished this, and I need to add the ESC, so I'll make a note here on that. And once I get that done, I'll see if I can find some place to put this for you guys in a PDF format where you can download it.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like and please subscribe to my channel. If you click the bell icon, you'll receive notifications every time I launch a new video. Thank you for watching.